Hey everyone, happy Friday. We're just going to be going through our very first section in chapter 2. So, chapter 1, a lot of it was kind of review for some of us where we were going into how to solve these different equations. And chapter 2 is all about inequalities. So, a lot of the same things that we were doing in chapter 1, but we're just adding that layer of difficulty with it being inequalities instead of just equations. So here, 2.1, this section is just called writing. Oh, let's pick a different color. Writing and graphing inequalities. All right, so you might want to take a second and get some of this vocab down. Okay, if you need to pause the video real quick. So the main things I want to go over right here in this vocab section, we've got inequality. All right, so inequality is like an equation, except instead of saying that two things are equal to each other, we're saying that one thing is greater than or less than the other. So it's saying one value is more than or possibly equal to the other value. Solution of an inequality and solution set. So a solution would be one specific number that satisfies an inequality, and the solution set are all the values that make some certain inequality true. So a lot of what we're going to be doing over the course of this chapter is finding solution sets for certain inequalities, finding what values make those inequalities true. And then graph of an inequality, what we're going to be doing here in this chapter are just those simple kind of number line graphs that we've seen before. Okay, so these graphs over here. Oh, I should have told you guys what page this is. This is page 30 in your student journal. All right, so here's another way we can look at some of these inequalities. We can write them out in words. Like over here, we've got the algebra, so these different less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than, or equal to. Okay, we've got all these different symbols here. And then here are the graphs that go along with each of those symbols. So we've got open circles. Okay, open circles for just less than or just greater than, right? So the way I like to think of this is you aren't including 2, okay? Your values have to be less than 2, but not up to 2. So the open circle is our way of saying you're not including the value. Okay, same thing for over here. It can be more than 2. Okay, it can be 2.000001, all right, but it can't be exactly 2. So we have an open circle to show we are not including that exact value. And here it's the opposite when we've got this less than or equal to and greater than or equal to, because we're saying it can include everything right up to 2, and we're including 2. So we shade in that circle to show, okay, 2 can be included here in this inequality. And here, let's just go right into the extra practice. I'll do a couple problems here, and then that should be pretty similar to your homework. You've got this, and you've got this assignment, and you should be good to go for today. Just make sure you get that attendance quiz. So we're given a sentence, and we want to write out what the inequality is. It's just asking us to write out the inequality. I'm pretty sure in your homework as well, it's not asking you to solve. It just wants you to be able to put this as an inequality. Okay, so it says 12 is greater than or equal to 5 times a number n. Okay, so 12 is greater than or equal to. Okay, always remember that symbol. It's greater than or equal to, include the little line. And then it says 5 times your number n. So 5n on the other side. Okay, if you're like me, the greater than and less than signs actually used to give me a huge problem. I would always get them backwards and mix them up. I know a lot of people have trouble with them. I know maybe in 4th grade you did the little alligator thing. Whatever helps you remember, okay? You're always opening up towards whatever side is greater, if that helps you to remember, just to be sure that you're not mixing up or flip-flopping which way your sign should be. Whatever you have to do to think of it in your head is perfectly fine. Okay, and then always remember to add the little line when it's greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. Okay, don't forget about that. It's easy to forget. All right, so let's look at the other one. 1/3 of a number h is less than 15. Okay, so 1/3 of a number, that means 1/3 times the number, is less than, okay, less than 15. Okay, so sometimes what I do if I am struggling with, okay, what way should my sign go? Sometimes I'll just write both values and then I'll think about, okay, which value needs to be more? Which value needs to be less? Okay, it was less than 15. I know this side needs to be more. I know my sign goes this way. All right, so if you really struggle with remembering which way your sign should go, write out your two values and then think about, okay, what way makes sense for the sign? Okay. I will have the whole chapter 2 of the notes posted on my chapter 2 Schoology folder. So if you want to go through and do some of these other practice problems, you can do that. All right, but let's go through. Here it's asking us not to find the whole solution set. We'll do that a little bit later in chapter 2. It's saying, okay, is this specific value a solution of your inequality? So plug in that number for your variable and see, is that inequality true? So I've got 19 minus 7 is less than 12. Okay, 19 minus 7, I get 12 is less than 12. Okay, well, that'd be fine if it was an equation, right? But 12 is not less than 12. That's wrong, so no. All right, that's all it's asking you to do. When you plug the number in, does it work? Is it part of the solution set, or is it not part of the solution set? Okay, so same thing over here. We're plugging in 1 here as n. So 9 is greater than or equal to 3 times 1 plus 6. All right, so that's 3 plus 6. 9 greater than or equal to 9. Since we have or equal to in here, this is fine. All right, if it was just 9 greater than 9, it wouldn't work. But since we're including or equal to, then yes, 1 is part of that solution set. And then very last thing, it's asking us to do some of these graphs. All right, so remember those graphing rules we talked about. The main thing, and I'd make sure I wrote this out somewhere in your notes. All right, so let's take some quick notes over here to this side. So remember, a closed circle, remember you're including the value. That is when you have less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, right? You're including the value. Open circle is when you just have less than, greater than. You're not including the value. All right, so over here it's saying x is greater than or equal to 3. So first off, before I think of anything else, I can think, all right, it's including or equal to, so I can shade in my circle. It's a closed circle. The easy way the kind of trick to this is to think, okay, well, when you have variable and then a number, the little arrow will point the way that you need to draw your line. That's kind of the trick, right? The actual math way that you should think of it is, okay, x is greater than 3, so the values are more than 3. Okay, 4 and 5 are more than 3. That's the way that your line should go. And that's the way that's probably better to think of it, because if I ever give you something that looked instead like 3 is less than or equal to x, that's the exact same inequality, but you might get tricked and draw your line the wrong way. Okay, so be careful with that. And then I'm going to look over here. Let's do this. X is greater than -1. Okay, so it's greater than, not greater than or equal to. So we're going to draw an open circle here at -1. And then we're going to, okay, greater than -1. These values are higher than -1. So I'm going to draw my little line over here. Sometimes when you draw these number lines yourself, it's really hard to kind of see, or it looks really messy. If it's easier for you, you can always just draw the line above your number line. That's just as fine. All right. All right, so for some of these too, we can go backwards. We can give you the graph and you go, okay, well then I know that that's X and 1. Okay, these numbers are getting higher than 1, so I know that X is greater than. It's an open circle, so it's not greater than or equal to, it's just X is greater than 1. All right, and I think that's all the different types of problems that you're going to see on today's homework. So go ahead and get started with that assignment and have a good rest of your weekend.